Hey guys, Marsh from the shop here, back with another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile, and today we're showing off my top 8 Vehicroid deck profile, which is really cool. Obviously this is not an overly competitive deck, as it's just not that great as Vehicroids. If you're wanting power, probably don't play this deck. This is definitely more of a fun or casual one, but as you can tell from my results, it's pretty good and it can get you some cheeky wins. It's also a lot of fun to play, and people usually enjoy seeing these cards or get really confused. It's just kind of funny to play. So to start off, we're running 3 of the best Vehicroid in the deck in my opinion, which is Expressroid, a level 4 Earth Machine. Oh, by the way, this is a very fusion based archetype. When you summon this card, you can add 2 Roids from your grave to your hand except Expressroid, and that is not once per turn. We are then running 3 Mixeroids. Mixeroid is really cool. So you contribute another machine monster, special summon a non-wind roid from deck, so no speedroids, or not a lot of the speedroids at least. And then you can pay half your life points, banish any number of machines from your grave, including this card, to special summon a fusion whose level equals the amount of monsters banished. This does come up actually quite a bit, and in late game where you're sort of struggling to keep up the pace, this does come up, and paying half your life points for a game ender is really not that bad. For the sort of spice card, we are then running 1 Ambulance Roid. What Ambulance Roid does is when a Roid is added from grave to hand, you can special summon that monster. So obviously this partnered with Expressroid. While this is on the field, you get to add 2 to the hand with Expressroid, and then you special summon them because Ambulance Roid's effect. Really cool. Only downside I would say is that it's a level 3, not level 4, so it limits your Xyz plays, but it's still an Earth Machine. Can go into the fusions, and it's overall great. Then for the last of the Roids, sadly we don't have Dragon Roid, but again this deck was perfect without it anyway. 2 Armoroids, which is a very high level Earth Machine monster with 2700 attack, with the effect, if this card's tribute summoned by tributing at least a Roid, banish all spells and traps on the field. Actually pulled this off a surprising amount. I think this effect actually came up 3 times, and banishing is really good. It can stop graveyard effects ever occurring and whatnot. It does hit your own spells and traps, so be careful, but honestly I'm quite surprised it did so well. And as well, when you tribute a monster off of Mixeroid, you can special summon Armoroid as a 27 body. We then run a Card Trooper as a 3 of. Card Trooper, you can mill 1 to 3 cards off the top of your deck, and this gains 500 attack for each. So obviously you flood in the graveyard for Mixeroid effects, or just milling in general for deck thinning purposes. And then also, when this card you control is destroyed and sent to grave, draw a card. You can actually force that a lot yourself with various cards. We then run 2 Silver Gadget and then 2 Gold Gadget. What these do are when they are normal, or well, if this card is normal special summon, you can special summon a level 4 machine from hand, so another copy of itself, or well, sorry, the opposite one, or any of the Roids really, except for Armoroid. And then also, if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon a level 4 gadget from your deck. So if you summon this, they destroy it, then you can bring out the other one, and then that can get another summon, so that's really cool. And then for the last of the monster lineup, we're running a Machinist Citadel, which is a effect monster that you really want in your graveyard, as when it's in the grave, if a face-up Earth Machine you control except Machinist Citadel is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon this card, and then also you can tribute a machine and destroy all your opponent's monsters that have an attack less than the machine you destroyed. So that effect doesn't come up often, but it came up a couple times yesterday. The main effect is just the free summon of a 3k body, and I had someone do it in the wrong order where they destroyed this first, then attacked my monster, and then because it was an Earth Machine, Machinist Citadel just came back and they just kind of slapped themselves in the face. So that was really cool. So that's the monster lineup. The spell lineup is a bit dodgy. You will see them a lot, maybe too often, and you'll also mill them a lot, but it's about just cheesing out as many summons as possible, as Roids do struggle to get lots of summons. So We have 3 copies of Polymerization, maybe a bit excessive, I know. You may also be thinking, why not Vehicroid Connection Zone? Well, simply in this build, it's hard to bring out the Vehicroids through pure fusion, as it doesn't count ones like Barbaroid or Vitroid or Ambulance Rescueroid. It only counts Super Vehicroid Stealth Union and Super Vehicroid Mobile Base, because it has to have the word Vehicroid. So because of that, we're running 3 Polymerization. Mainly just because we don't want to accidentally mill that. We then run 3 power bonds. This is a bit risky, but you can. My favorite play is to get 2 monsters, machine monsters with the same name, bring out a pair Vehicroid with 32 and attack to face, and then take 16, because it doubles the attack of what you bring out, but then you take damage equal to the attack that you doubled. So if you bring out Barbaroid, double it to 8,000, you're going to take 4,000 in the end phase, so you really do have to watch out with Power Bond. We then run 1 instant fusion, which lets us bring out a level 5 or lower fusion from fusion deck, or extra deck, should I say. But it's destroyed at the end of the during the end phase. Sorry. So yeah, that's just to get a body on board, mainly because of Super Vehicroid Mobile Base requires a Roid Fusion monster as well as a Roid monster as its material. So you can bring out the level 5 pair Vehicroid and then use Polymerization or Power Bond to go into Mobile Base. Fun fact as well, Mobile Base has 0 attack, so doubling it, you're not going to take any damage from Power Bond. We then actually main deck a copy of Change of Heart. This came up a couple times. I did go against Speedroids, so I just took one of their monsters whilst I had Machina Citadel on field, which was a 3000 attack synchro. Use Machina Citadel to destroy it and then board wipe their field and then attack for game with the Machina Citadel. We then run 3 machine duplication. This is really good in this deck. Target machine you control with 500 or less attack, special summon up to 2 monsters from your deck with the same name. So that can be Card Trooper if you want to mill 9 in a turn, which I'm not going to lie, that is actually a good play. That can also be your Mixeroids, and it can also be your Expressroids, which is great. Lots of bodies on board for Xyz plays, Link plays, fusion plays, or even if you're just wanting to use the effects of things like Expressroid, add 6 to your hand if you have 6. Mixeroid can obviously tribute and then bring out Armoroid if you're struggling for a strong body on board. We then run 2 urgent schedule. You would probably run 3, but I only have the 2. So if your opponent controls more monsters, quick play spell by the way. Special summon a level 4 or lower and a level 5 or higher Earth Machine. In defense from deck, negate their effects, can't declare attacks the turn you do this, except with machine, so that's not really a problem. And if this set card is sent from field to grave, you can add a level 10 machine from deck to hand. The only one is Machina Citadel, which you probably don't want to add to hand unless you can discard it, but the special summon of a level 4 or lower and a level 5 or higher, you will probably bring out Machina Citadel, because it says it must be special summoned by a card effect, full stop. So that means that you can bring it out with any card effect really, and obviously if it dies, it goes in your grave. You can use its graveyard effect, it's live. Also, it's just a really big body. Even in defense, it's got 25, that's pretty solid. If you're not wanting to do that, then you can bring out Armoroid, obviously, who's 27 and 2k. But I typically bring out Machina Citadel just to get it engraved and be live. We then run 3 fusion deployments. This lets us bring out a fusion material listed on a fusion monster. Well, specifically listed, should I say. So, Super Vehicroid Stealth Union you'll probably rarely bring out, but it does mention Expressroid, so fusion deployment can get us a free Expressroid. And also Ambulance Rescueroid mentions Ambulance-roid, so that's a free special summon of Ambulance-roid too. Again, just more free summons, that's always great. We then run 1 Megaroid City. I would have suggested running more, but I only had the 1 copy and I never really needed it more. I suppose you could run 2, but I was running Terraforming anyway. So Megaroid City is really good. You can target another card you control, destroy it, and add a Roid from deck to hand. This does actually trigger both the gadget effects to special summon a different gadget from deck, and Card Trooper to trigger the draw effect. So that's really good. You get a Search of a Roid, and you can activate either of those effects to get a gadget summon, and then that can give you an extra special summon or a draw. And then during a battle phase where a Roid's fighting, you can send a Roid from deck to grave, which is not a bad effect at all. You can send something like a Mixeroid for the fusion effect. And the stats are swapped for that turn, so their attack and defense are swapped. And I mean, with things like Expressroid, that turns it from a 400 attack into a 1600 attack. Mixeroid, it turns it from a 0 into a 22. Ambulance Roid, it turns it from a 3 into a 12. And then with the fusions, you probably won't use it with many of the fusions, but you could turn a mobile base from a 0 attack into a 5000 attack. And that's really the only beneficial one. But nonetheless, that's really cool. And yeah, like I said, we do run 1 terraforming. We then run 2 Twin Twisters. We desperately need more spell and trap removal besides Armoroid in this deck, so that's why we run those. Also, because of discard for cost, you can discard a Machina Citadel, so its graveyard effects are live and it's not a brick anymore. And also, if you're sending something like a Mixeroid, you can do the fusion effect. It's more materials for that. Or you can just send Expressroid or Ambulance Roid or whatever, so they can either be searched off added back from Expressroid later, or just used for the Mixeroid effect. We then run 2 Emergeroid Calls, which is a really good counter trap. If you when a spell trap or monster effect is activated while you control a Roid fusion monster, negate the activation, send all cards with that same name as that from the activating player's deck and extra deck to the grave. And then it has a second effect where you can banish this to target a Roid in grave and add it to hand. So the second one's, it's alright, it's not amazing, but obviously the first one they just made absolutely crazy because they realised Vehicroids are pretty terrible. But you can hit a hand trap and just remove all copies of the hand trap. You can hit something like a Totally Awesome and get rid of all Totally Awesomes in the extra deck or something like that. It's just really cool if you can pull it off, and it's really fun. And then finally, for the 40th card, we are running 1 Red Reboot. Mainly just because some traps can completely shut this deck down, and so we want to stop this deck being shut down, essentially. It's not more complicated than that. What have I just done? Okay, so we will shortly go into the extra deck. The extra deck is pretty simple, and there is a really cheeky card in there, so stay tuned for that. So we've got 2 Barbaroid the Ultimate Battle Machines. This is a 4000 attack and defense monster that requires 5 machine type Roids to fusion summon it. It's a really solid card. It can attack twice during each battle phase, but not directly. After damage calculation, if it attacked an opponent's monster, negate the effects of that monster, including in the graveyard, which is actually really good. That including the graveyard isn't something you really see on monsters nowadays, so that's a really good extra effect. And if it destroys a monster in battle, it does 1000 effect damage. So that's a nice bit of extra damage on board. Obviously, if you power bond it as well, it becomes an 8000 attack monster. But if you're attacking something that can't be destroyed in battle, and then you negate its effects after damage calculation, you can just slam it again and kill it. So that's really cool. That's really interesting. I like that a lot. That came up a couple times yesterday with the likes of Malicious Bane and a Marshmallow. Then we run 2 Super Vehicroid Mobile Base. This is a really, really good card. It's a level 10, so you need to banish 10 off of Mixeroid. Barbaroid banish 12, which sounds ridiculous, but it's actually not that bad. After a few turns, that's pretty easy to do. Mobile Base has a 0 attack and 5k defense. You could target a face-up monster your opponent controls, special summon a Roid from deck, or extra attack with attack less than or equal to that monster. You can only use this effect once per turn of Super Vehicroid Mobile Base. That is a hard once per turn, by the way. And then you can, during the end phase, you can target a Roid in main monster zone, add it back to hand, and move this there. You're probably not going to be using that effect, but something really cool is the free summon, because a lot of the other Roid fusion monsters now have really low attack stats, so you can bring out pretty much any of them for free. And it's once per turn as well, so you can just keep bringing them out as long as they can't get over a 5k defense, or with Megaroid City, a 5k attack monster. Something I will also say as well, if you are wanting to just full on wall up, if they have any monster on the field whatsoever, because this guy has 0 attack, you can just bring out a second copy, which is really cool. We then have a pair Vehicroid. If you have 2, please run 2, because Instant Fusion, this is the only target as a level 5, and it's such a good card. It closed out so many games, it got all my damage in games. This is surprisingly like the best card of the deck, and honestly, a second or maybe even third copy would be really good. This isn't a full extra deck either, so get them extra copies. Simply put, 1600 attack, can attack directly. Very basic. It's just like a Metal Raiders card, to be honest, but obviously you can bring it off of this, you can power bond it, double it to 32 for a turn. Some really nice cheeky damage in there. And again, it's your instant fusion target if you want to hard poly or power bond into mobile base. Then we run 2 Super Vehicroid Stealth Union. Again, we're mainly running this for fusion deployment, as fusion deployment lets us bring out Expressroid because it's specifically mentioned on this. But it can target face-up non-machine on the field, equip it to this card, and it can attack all monsters your opponent controls whilst it's got an equip, but its original attack is halved every time. Basically, you're just going to bring this out, steal a monster, equip it to it, and then just leave it as a 36 wall. You can attack, but it's just going to get weak super fast. So typically, you just bring it out, equip something, and again, leave it as a 36 wall. Then we get Ambulance Rescueroid, which is actually a really good card. If you wanted to bring this out from Mixeroid, you would have to banish 6, which is really easy and accomplishable. What Ambulance Rescueroid is it's a 2300 attack monster, which is actually not that bad. That's a pretty decent stat line for the deck, and it's kind of big. It beat over a couple of things yesterday. This monster can't be special summoned except by fusion summon. When a monster on your side of the field is destroyed by a battle and sent to grave, you can special summon that monster in defense. So I've had it before where someone honest over my Vitroid, but Ambulance Rescueroid was on the field, so it just came back. I took a little bit of damage, of course, but I didn't lose my Vitroid, so they literally lost next turn. Then here's the absolute spice. Elemental Hero Necroid Shaman. Because it has the keyword Roid all in succession there, this can be brought out from mobile base and whatnot, and it's really cheeky. It's not the greatest card, no, but it does have some extra utility, and with its downside, you can actually turn that into a plus side with one of the side deck cards that I'm running. If you want to run that, that's a different matter, but I'd still recommend having a Necroid Shaman in the extra deck. 1, because it's really funny, but 2, it's actually not that bad. So, when this card's special summoned, destroy a monster on your opponent's side of the field, then select a monster from your opponent's grave and special summon it to your opponent's side of the field. So what you can do is you hit something like a sprite card or whatever, and then you bring out something like a Ronin Toadin that they don't want on their field. And then what you do, if you have this from your side deck and the band played on, they can only have that Ronin Toadin on field now, if that was all that was there. So that's a really cheeky play, and I love that a lot. We then go into the XE's lineup. We've got 1 Gear Gigant X, which is a really good card, 2300, 2 level 4 machines. You can detach a material to add a level 4 or lower machine, so that's literally anything in the deck besides Machina Citadel and Armoroid. You can search things like your gadgets, your card trooper, whatever. So that's really cool, and when this card leaves the field, you can target level 3 or lower gear engrave, special summon that. That doesn't come up in this deck, sadly. We then run Baguska. This is our going first card. You just get your 2 level 4s, probably Expressroids or something from machine duplication or whatever, and then just bring out Baguska in defense and stall. This shut down Salamangreat, so that's pretty cool. Not Salamangreat, sorry, wrong one. It shut down something I went against yesterday, I can't quite remember. We then got Cleefort Genius, a really good Link to Machine Link monster. What this does is it's unaffected by spell, trap, and activate effects of other Link monsters, and once per turn you can target face-up card on each player's field. Both those cards have their effects negated until the end of the turn, which is really good. And then, when 2 monsters special summoned at the same time to zones this points to, add a level 5 or higher machine from deck to hand. So that last one can come up quite a bit if you're using something like machine duplication, so that's really cool. But mainly, you're just using it as an 1800, which is better than a lot of the roids. link to, and you can negate something on both fields. A lot of them, again, they have really useless effects once they're on the field. Expressroid's effect does nothing when it's on field. Armoroid's the same. Once it's done it can't really do it again. If you want to negate something like your field spell, you can go ahead and do that as well. Then we run Nightmare Phoenix and Nightmare Unicorn. Nightmare Unicorn actually helps shut out a game for me. But not only are they good because you've got, again, much needed spell and trap removal, especially in a very Mystic Mine heavy format again, sadly, and a card bounce to hand, but it's discarding, so if you have Machina Citadel in your hand, that's another way to get it in the grave and for it to become live. So this is the deck list. This is everything I've got. Obviously, there's tons of additions like Dragonroid you can have in, more Megaroid cities if you want, definitely more Parasicroids if you can. And I know I'm not running a lot of the OGs, which is sad because that's what I wanted to do. But they're just sadly not good enough. Honestly, if I can make a deck where I can add them in and it's not really bricky and bad, I'll do that and I'll give you guys a list. But finally, I will show you guys my side deck. Obviously, this is very locals or tournament based to you. So if some of these cards would be really bad at your local tournament or whatever tournament you're playing in, obviously swap them out for what's better for you. And I will say that I don't have many expensive staples either, so just keep that in mind. So for starters, we're running 2 Lava Golem. It's better than a Kaiju in this deck because, again, you get a lot of spells that can cheese summons, fusion deployment, machine duplication, instant fusion and whatnot. But on top of that, they can kind of go off of each other. So if you go with a fusion deployment and then machine duplication, you've got 3 monsters without normal summoning. This tributes 2 monsters on your opponent's side of the field and burns them for 1,000 during each standby. Typically, you'll only get the burn once. That's fine, that's 1,000 free damage. You can't complain with free damage as a extra bonus. The main thing is tributing 2. I hit I think it was an access code and a window with 1 Lava Golem yesterday, which was really nice. We then run 3 Raigekis and 2 evenly matched. Evenly matched didn't really come up, to be honest. If you want, you could replace that with something like a Lightning Storm if you have those, or if you want budget options, Dark Hole would probably be better. Just board wipes are really solid in this format, and if you select all these in, you can just keep hitting board wipes until eventually they can't negate anymore. We then run a 3rd copy of Twin Twisters if the spell and trap removal is very much needed. 2 DD Crows to pretty much counter Terror Elements and other decks that rely on banishing. To go with the board wipes, I actually forgot to do this one first. Dark Ruler no more. Only the one because we have some pretty cheeky options in. So if you don't like these cheeky options, just add another DD Crow, another 2 Dark Rulers. But if you do like these cheeky options, then please play them. So first off, I did mention this earlier, and the ban played on. Really good card. It's continuous trap that says neither player can special summon monsters with the same level as those they control. Neither player can special summon monsters with the same rank as those they control. So obviously this can hurt your deck a lot. But again, you've got things like Ambulance Roid level 3, the other ones at level 4. If you banish in the ones engraved, the fusions have a whole host of different levels. Armoroid and Machina Citadel are both different levels as well. So this deck can actually play around it quite well as long as it's not your first play. But obviously if you're playing it, you won't be setting it, never mind activating it before you've done all your plays and are ready to lock out your opponent. This is really good against decks like Sprite. We then run an Instant Contact. If Instant Fusion isn't quite doing it for you, you can pay 1,000, special summon a level 7 or lower elemental hero from extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions, and because Neos isn't in the deck, the summon monster can't activate its effect, and it returns to the extra deck during the end phase. Obviously from that you bring out the absolute cheek, which is Necroid Shaman, who's a level 6, but it's a Roid fusion monster, so again, you can hard poly into those correct targets. Why would you run this over Instant Fusion or as well as Instant Fusion? If for whatever reason they use something that locks you out of fusion summoning for the turn, like Dimensional Barrier or something, then it's fine. He comes back to your extra deck, so you can bring him out later. That's why we run Instant Contact. And then finally, Boompoline. And now you might be thinking, why on earth are you running Boompoline? Mainly because a lot of people play Cyburst decks, and I'm sick of Cyburst decks. So what you do is you target a unused monster zone, and if an effect monster is special summoned to that zone, return that and this to the hand. If they bring out Transcode Talker or Splash Mage, and they have an empty arrow pointing, and they're going to revive, before they do the effect, Boompoline that zone. So when the thing they revive comes out, it just gets bounced instantly. And honestly, that's probably better that it's in the extra deck than the grave, because they can't just revive it. So that's kind of cheeky if you're going against a lot of Cyburst decks, personally. If not, probably don't run Boompoline, honestly. But if you are, please give it a shot. It's really fun. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your guys' suggestions. I know with the hero deck list, you guys had all sorts of things that you were saying would be better or I could change. And honestly, I did take a lot of them on board. I'm just not going to do a hero deck list again so soon because that'd be a bit silly. So stay tuned for an updated hero deck list. I'm not sure if I'll update this because obviously it's a joke deck. I'm not going to be playing it often. I might update it if I happen to get 3 Dragonroids or something. I was also thinking of playing more of a pile variant where I potentially run a copy of Eldritch and Carriaroid, so let me know if you guys think that'd be cool. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, whether that be a stream, Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck list, Saints Row, Garden Warfare, whatever I do on this channel that interests you also. I'll see you there. Goodbye.